Well, the year didn't start off too terribly. I played quite an assortment of AAA games and indie games. Some I played for fun, like Fire Emblem Engage, while others I got review codes for, like Forspoken. Maybe there are a few games you missed in here. Anyway, this is a quick summary of what I played in January of 2023. Let's begin with Scrap Riders, which paid homage to point-and-click adventure games. Specifically, it felt like a spiritual successor to Full Throttle, which was a LucasArts game with a similar biker appeal to it. That game was purely an adventure game, whereas Scrap Riders also has some brawling segments. It's a weird mashup of genres that is interesting, but not altogether balanced well. Next, Lone Ruin is a roguelike with absolutely no story to it. Players wander into a labyrinth and can choose to go in with a moderate set of spells that change every time they enter, from Ice Blast to Fireballs. There is no progression between runs, so the only way to beat the game is through personal experience. Basically, you need to get good. It didn't hook me like some of the best roguelikes from last year, aka Rogue Legacy 2, but I enjoyed it as a more arcadey experience. Moving on, we have Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. It's an old-school action platformer with Mega Man X vibes mixed with Shinobi. You assume the role of the titular Moonrider who wakes up in a lab and then proceeds to slice the heck out of terrorist organizations. After the first mission, you get to choose where to go next on the map. You don't get cool powers like Mega Man when you defeat bosses, but you can find chips to give your character boosts, like one that allows you to revive once per level. It's a great, albeit short adventure. Here we have Onion Assault. The level design is somewhat between the original Mario and Super Mario Bros. 2. To be more specific, the levels feel like the first game, but the mechanics feel more like 2. See, your main ability allows you to pick up objects to throw at enemies, or you can even pick up smaller enemies to throw at, enemies. It's got a nice colorful look to it, but it's not doing a whole lot to push the genre forward. It's fine for what it is, but it didn't hold my attention, unlike the developer's first major game, Gunman Clive. If you've never played that game, check it out. Next, we have Piece Odyssey, which I wanted to like more than I did. We get a lot of brawlers based on this manga/anime series, but I don't think we have ever received a turn-based RPG despite there being quite a few in Japan. It's also a bit like Kingdom Hearts, wherein Luffy and his crew jump into old chapters of their lives to relive key moments via some kind of digital vortex cube thing. It's a little confusing, but I love me some Kingdom Hearts and turn-based RPGs, so I was ready to love this game, but something about it didn't click with me. It's not bad, but it didn't have that wow factor. I think a big problem for me was the number of characters and the ridiculously easy difficulty. Now we have Forspoken, another RPG that I had high hopes for. It looked gorgeous thanks to the Luminous engine, which was used in Final Fantasy XV as well. The idea of centering a game on casting spells was also unique, plus it is an isekai, which is a popular concept right now, or at least it is in anime. Thankfully, the gameplay lives up to my expectations, even though it takes a while to unlock spells. It's also a gorgeous game on PS5, which, I've already said. So what's the problem? Well, the main character of Frey treats everything like a burden. I get that the game is Hero's journey and she has to change, but 80% of it has Frey stuck on this snarky attitude. It's draining. None of the other characters are likable either, but for different reasons. It's a blah story in a beautiful world. Finally, we have some lights. Sort of. We have SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake, which is the first new console game based on this cartoon in quite a while, not counting the 2020 remaster of Battle for Bikini Bottom. Now, this is a simple enough platformer that is saved thanks to the writing. Not all the jokes land, but I was consistently laughing to myself at least. There are a lot of callbacks to the show, and as cliche as it is to say, fans of the cartoon will enjoy it because it feels like an earlier season adventure. Despite the fact it's another story centered on multiverses, which was huge last year, and I don't think we're going to escape that in 2023. But speaking of 2023, that's it for the January wrap-up. Mostly. To close off, I do want to mention I also played Dead Space Remake and Fire Emblem Engage, although I didn't get review codes for either. so I don't feel obligated to talk about them. I did, however, write a lot on both on Game Rant, if you want to check out my writing. Gotta plug somewhere. I wrote about pretty much every game in this video as well, from deeper opinions to tips and tricks. So with that, I'm going to start gearing up for February's breakdown, because it looks like it's going to be another banger month. So happy gaming!